But today we are going to show you how to create a simple get the user, get the age. It's kind of like a hello world, and we'll go from there. So we create a new file right here in VS Code. So intro, we'll do intro.erl. That's the extension for a Erlang file. We'll create a module, and we'll call it, and we'll say intro. It's the same name that we used for the file. That is our module name. And then we'll do export, and we'll have a list of arguments, basically of functions that we're going to call. You can put author here. You know, if you want to be really cool, you can put your name or whatever you want there. You can put you. So we now have the beginning basics of a Erlang file. If you want to create something that's like, hey, what is your name? You're going to need to create a function, and you're going to have input and outputs to the console. So let's get started. So we'll say we'll say greetings. That probably looks familiar. If you've been coding, you kind of recognize that. It's like, oh, it looks like a function. You're calling a function. So what we'll do here is we'll say name. Oh no, we'll actually just do IO format first. That is how we print to the console instead of print or puts or any of the other variations of languages you can think of. Console.log, whatever you would usually print to the console. For Erlang, it is IO format, and that'll actually allow you to print to the console, see, and then you can actually interact with users from there. So we will say, hello, what is your name? That's not supposed to be kept, not that it really matters, and for new lines, it's actually going to be a squiggle n. A lot of languages, it would be the \n, and that would be like the new line character, and you go to a line, but in Erlang, it's a squiggle n, keeping it fresh and fun. So from here, we can go, and we can actually get the name. We can get the user's input. So we'll create a variable. In Erlang, all variables are uppercase because if it is lowercase, it is considered an atom. So we will get into atoms a little later, but for now, keep it simple. So we will say string trim, because we want to cut off any of the excess, and then we're going to say IO get line, and we're going to be really fancy here and put a little thing. So that way when it prints to the console, the user will see that arrow and be like, oh, well, that's where I'm supposed to type. Because sometimes if it's just an empty spot, it's like, wait, what am I supposed to type now or there or where? This will indicate it for you. It's just a little cleaner, keeps things simple. So now we can go and use this inside of our greet. So we can actually say IO format, and we can say it is nice to meet, nice to meet you, and we can say squiggle s. That means we want to put a string into this text, and we can do that by putting that string inside this argument right here. This is list. This is a list of arguments. So we could end it there, and we now have this function. And let's say it's Python or even JavaScript. You would normally call that function like this. Then you could print it to the console. Like, oh, well, there it is. Awesome. You definitely, if you try to run this right now, it won't work. It'll give you an error. It'll tell you no module is defined because we need to export that function inside of this module. So we can come up here, say greetings. It doesn't have an argument, and all that means is there's no variable placed in there, like we didn't put name in there and then use the name from there. We didn't put it in initially. We're getting it from the user now. So the arguments is 0, so it's just greetings /0 because there are no arguments in there. If we did put, let's say, name in there, then we would have /1. But because we don't, it's empty. There we go, easy peasy. So we can go to our console. You can see I was playing around with hello worlds. And we can actually just go here. And that is how we would compile a file in Erlang. It says, okay, intro, it's good to go. We can go intro, call greetings. That's not how you spell greetings. And end it like that. Now we say, hello, what's your name? And as you can see, right there, we have that little arrow that we put in. That's right here. And that'll allow us to actually kind of tell the user, hey, we want a name. So we can just say, hey, my name is Joe. And it says Joe OK. Now it says Joe OK because we didn't add a squiggle at the end for the new line. We always end with an atom of OK. So if we do it now, we can actually run it again. Say Joe. There you go. Okay, the OK is kind of irrelevant. It's just saying it worked. But when it popped up, I was like, wait, Joe OK. But so here you go. So now we have Joe It's nice to meet you. And we were able to use that. We can now go on to go and get the age. Let's say we want the user's age. And we can do something very similar. We can say IO format. You probably get the hang of it now. You know, what, or I guess just, you know, how old are you? And we can do a squiggle end so we have a new line. Keep things fresh. Yeah, we'll do that squiggle end. And as you can already guess, if we want to create a variable, it has to be uppercase, so we'll call it age. And we'll say string, semicolon trim, get line, and we'll do the same thing again. I think it's just easier for users. I like it, so I use it. You don't have to put that. You can just put, honestly, just the quotations themselves if you wanted to, but I like to do it this way. I think it makes it look better. It gives them a little more interactivity to the user. You always want to make things as user-friendly as you possibly can. So from here, we can actually just say, and I'll actually show you a different way to concatenate. Instead of using the list argument, this will probably look a little more similar to other languages, maybe like a C++. So we can go IO format, and we can say you are, and then we can actually just plus plus age, plus plus, then we can go years old. We'll give it a little space there. And from there, oh, I forgot the IO. IO. It's in out. So now we can call, we have that first function that we already called, greetings, has nothing in it. And now we can actually put users up there as well. So we can say users age, and it also doesn't have an argument. And you see all the red lines went away now. So it's perfect. So you always want to use, I forgot to mention these commas as you're going on, because it's not the end of a statement, but at the end of the function itself, it does end with a period. It's kind of like the last thing you say, right? The last part of the sentence, there you go. That's how it ends. So all of these functions always end with a period at the end, rather than the commas just say it's going to continue, it's going to keep going on. And we can get into the end of a statement later with the semicolons. But from here, we can actually run it again. So we can go up, we just hit up on the keyboard, hit intro, and this time what we'll do is we won't say greetings, we'll say users. I just hit tab because it was easier. Age. Now how old are you? We'll say, I don't know, 33. 33 years old. And I forgot to put the squiggly line. Always important, put the squiggly line. So we can do that, we can go next line, and that'll fix it. So now we can get the user's name and the user's age, and we can put those things together. Now it's kind of like, why are we having to run each function separate? Why do we have to go into our console and then type it in and do this whole system every time? Are we going to have to do that every time? The awesome thing is, no, we don't. We can actually just go start. You can call it whatever you want. It could be begin, introductions, warm greetings, howdy doody. Doesn't actually matter, but we can call greetings within this function. And then we can also call user's age within this function. We can end it right there. So now all we have to do is export start with a 0. And if we want it to pop both of these up, we can come over here. We can go, okay, well, let's compile it again. That's important. And go intro, start. Now to ask for our name, we'll just say Joseph. Okay, it's nice to meet you, Joseph. And how old are you? Let's say 75. You're 75 years old. And just like that, you guys have created a very simple program that can get usernames and ages, and from there you can kind of play around now that you have a bit of the syntax for how to get information from the users, retrieve it, and do something with it. Like I said, all variables in Erlang begin with a capital letter. Make sure you stick with that. We'll get into the atoms in the next videos, but for now I wanted to keep it simple and easy, and from here you can keep growing it. If you wanted to put, let's say, we have the first name, we have name, but now we also want to have, hey, let's get last name. Say, enter your last name. We can do that. We can come over here. We can go, oh, sorry. Here I am telling you guys to always use capital last name. And we can say the same thing, string, semicolon, trim, IO, don't forget that, get underscore line. Do the same thing again. Create a little arrow. And now we'll get the last name as well. And we can actually put the last name in here. We can go right here. We can go, hey, we want to put last name as well. Now the only difference is we'd have to put another line or another string input right here. It's a bit similar to C in that regard, right? If you're gonna put an integer, you're gonna put like D, right? It'd be like %D, and then it works similarly to that. If you're used to that, if you're not, no big deal. But it'll go in the order that you put it. So the first S will always be the first name. The second S will be the second name, or the last name, because that's how they are here. First S, second S, new line. So we can actually compile that one more time. Go intro start. We can just say, we'll go Bob Williamsons. And we could say he's 85, because Bob's awesome. So now, it's nice to meet you, Bob Williamsons. You have the first name, the last name, and you have the age. So congratulations on your first little program with Erlang. Like I said, I think it's a beautifully powerful language, and I'll keep on creating more and more complex content as we go. I wanted to start off with the basics with a little bit of input, output, doing something similar to a hello world. If you learned something, make sure you like, subscribe, and I hope you guys also like this awesome language.